Hi guys, it's Keith with Arkenberg Farms. It is now the last week of January 2021. It's roughly 40 degrees out here. Pretty humid. We're about to get a snowstorm come here. Oh, probably tonight through Wednesday is what they're calling for. Get a couple inches of snow on the ground. It'd be nice. Kind of get rid of the blob brown. Turn it into a little bit more of a white, nice, clean looking slate. But as you can tell, just walking by there, got Granddad's old tractor out. So we're going to go inside today and start to work on my newest addition to the farm, which is my Wunderbar toolbar module. So let's check it out. So the Wunderbar toolbar module is basically just a 2-inch toolbar for your tractor. This is how it comes. This piece, the actual 2-inch bar, did not come painted. I had to put a coat of paint on it, but it did come with these nice end caps in here, which I thought was really nice. Just 2-inch by 2-inch by 1/4-inch thick steel. Then we've got our main part of the toolbar, which is just the bracket itself and what the bar actually bolts into. For putting all this together, we're going to need a big crescent wrench, adjustable wrench, which for these nuts up here, because they're 1 3/16 inch, which I do not have a wrench that size. The other ones we need are for these other big bolts on the pieces that mount onto the toolbar that hold the different implements, and that is 1 1/8. And then there's square nuts on the back of these. There you go. And those are, turns out, 5/8 open end box wrench. So we'll need one of those. There's also a socket you could use for this as well. So I ordered a couple different components with this set. I've got the hillers, which are these discs. They're just regular old 16-inch discs. And they are on, if I remember right, I think those are 18-inch shanks. So it gives you some adjustability. Those are also to make a bed, hill potatoes, that sort of thing. Then I've got the tire track remover set, which, as you can see right down here, they actually have a release here. So if you hit something hard like a rock, they should take this and actually push it backwards instead of bending the shank on it. Comes with these 2 large sweeps here, which I believe are just beet sweeps. They're roughly 15 inches wide and looks like about 18 inches long. Now, I also ordered the Danish S-tines for it as well, so we can maybe do some cultivation. And there's 4 of those. They come with 7-inch sweeps on here and brackets to mount it. Now, each of these are a different set. So the S-tines are a set, the tire track removers are a set, which I'm going to use for walk paths. The hillers are a set, which I'm going to use to make beds and hill potatoes. And then the original bar itself is a set. So I actually looked into the pricing of this and tried to play around with, oh, what if I buy the hiller set with the bar and this? Turns out you can buy piecemeal this any way you want. It's the same price, same shipping, same everything. They have everything calculated down, which no matter how you group them, you pay the same amount. And the biggest cost is going to cost is shipping, because this whole set right here was $300 of shipping through FedEx, which was a considerable amount considering the price we paid. But the one cool thing is all the parts and pieces come in these nice little bags here. I thought that was pretty cool. So first thing we're going to do, mount the toolbar to the actual 3-point attachment. We're going to take that out, get it on the tractor, and then start mounting our different pieces and parts on there that I know are going to stay there, and we'll just work from there. So the one thing is that this did not come with any directions whatsoever. So what I've got in the bag here, my 2 category 1 hitch pins. We go over here for the 3-point hitch. All of these components are handmade by Woodward Crossing me check that real quick. Yes, Wunderbar Woodward Crossing. And they put the nuts on and their square nuts in and then paint it. So it's a little bit of effort to get them off there. Now, the discs came fully assembled, which I liked, except there is one nut over here that didn't get tightened, so I'll have to hit that. The discs do say the dreaded made in China, so I didn't price them out or not, but you can probably find these through Agri Supply or somewhere else as well. And then just order the specific mounts for the toolbar, because these have round mounts on a 2-inch toolbar. I tried looking through other places for mounts like this, and it's just rather difficult to find when you're on a computer. I think the magazines are a little bit better about it. And here's the hardware for the sweeps. I've got to check and nut and bolt these, make sure that these are good and tight. And then I've got 2 long bolts, which will go through 1 in each sweep. Lock nut, a nut, and those nuts are 11/16. And then 2 big beefy washers that'll go on the bottom of this to keep it from pulling through. The S-tines have a lot more hardware to them because we've got to mount the sweep, and then we've got to mount to the toolbar with these brackets back here with a bolt that passes through. So the bolts, the long bolts that pass through are 5/8. These little bolts here are for the sweeps. They're carriage type bolts with a rounded head, so they sit flush down in this hole. We just got a regular washer, which is going to go on, I think that's going to go on the S-tine up here. We'll see when we get to there. Yeah, that will. And then a nut. The nut again is our 11/16. And then these bolts here that have the thread lockers on them and have the built-in washer will go on the back side of these bolts to hold the sweeps on. And those are 9/16. So the nice thing is here with a set of sockets, you have this and this, so you can hold on to them both together. I'm actually going to be using my impact ratchet for it, so it shouldn't be much of a problem to get it put together. The first thing I'm going to do is come over here and get ready to install the bar and the hitch pins. Okay, now, I'm not going to bore you with the monotony of taking you through step by step of putting this all together. It's pretty simple. Put a bolt through the hole, put the nut on the other side, put a washer or a lock washer. But the one thing I do want to address before we start is we're going to use the toolbar centered, because our little tractor has 30 inches in between the inside of the tires. So that gives me my 30-inch bed spacing. Tires are about 9 inches wide, so it's about half the bed. The toolbar itself is 4 foot, which is what our bed spacing is, 4 foot on center. So we got half of a walk path, bed, another half of a walk path, makes up 48 inches. That's 30 inches in the center for the walk path. They are 30 inches in the center for the bed, and the walk paths are 18 inches each, so you get 9 on both sides. So this toolbar is roughly 24 inches across, so we'll have room to go on the outside of each of these for our bed shapers. But for now, we just want to concentrate on getting this toolbar centered. So at 48 inches, that means we want to place the bar at the foot marks right over the top of this. That gives us 1 foot of bar sticking out on each side. And we'll just center it from there. Drop the bracket that holds it in place back on there. And we got, like I said, washer of some kind. Got a lock washer. Big giant nut. Do the same on the other side. Make sure everything fits together well. And then I'll put us into time lapse, and I'll put together all these components except for the actual mounts that'll go on the tractor, because I think it'll be easier if I mount this to the tractor and then I can mount these on here, because ideally I kind of want these to go up like this. So I have access to the adjustment bolts facing towards the rear of the tractor, not into the tractor. It's going to be a little more difficult to tighten these up, but it shouldn't be too much of a pain. So, here we go. So here is everything assembled. I found maker marks on all these. So our S-tines, the blade down here is made in the USA. The S-tines themselves are made in Italy. These big bars here are manufactured by Woodward. The sweeps, Brazil. Got these over here that were made in China, which I can see why. The quality of the bolts and nuts are even junk. I've already twisted a couple off just trying to tighten them. That's why that one was loose, because it was already stripped. And then this is all the American made here with a square stock piece of Canadian steel, because it's still got the stamp on it. But we got it all put together. We're going to take it out. We're going to mount it to the tractor, which won't be anything. And then we'll decide where all these other little bits and pieces are going to go. So I went about doing, get that turned around there, a little bit of math on here. Turns out my sweeps here are 16 inches wide. Walk paths are 18. So I want to center those in the walk path. In order to do that, I got to come in 1 inch from the outside on the toolbar. Also, my bedders, I want those to make a 30-inch wide bed. So these have to be basically at 30 or more. And then on the top, we got a 30-inch bed. So I made marks for my 4 sweeps at 6 inches apiece. I think they're 7 inches, but we'll just kind of see how this works. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to try to put everything possible on this bar and run it in just one pass. Let's see if that works or not. I'm not exactly sure. To start with, we use the better hiller. It's got the curved, to take the curved shaft of the disc. We're just going to bring that all the way over to start with, and then we'll tighten this down. Next, we'll do the sweep. It's got a flat shank in it. It's going to go out here on the end. I can get it to jump out. Well, not cooperating. I have to loosen the bolts up, it looks like. Yeah. And I'll get that on there. It'll basically be like this side that I already put together. So this is actually going to be centered on this 1 inch mark on the end here. Turn you around over here. So it's not exactly all the way on here. It's actually out a little ways. But that shouldn't be much of a problem. So I'm going to do the boring part now. Screw these on, and then yeah, bring out my Danish S-tines, put those on as well. Kind of see how all this stuff mounts. I've actually got the 3-point up as high as possible on this little tractor. That way I know that I'll have plenty of clearance to drop down when I need to, and we'll just kind of work from there. So here we go. Now, installing these sweeps on here is a little bit of a booger if you've never done it before. First, this is your sweep. This is the part that attaches to the tractor. This goes to the bottom side of the bar. So what you got to do is come up and underneath, go past, then angle it to bring it through. Next, this is the bracket that you attach it with. bolt goes through here, your bar fits in here, your tine goes through here. So what you have to do, set it down on your bar, then take your tine and bring it up, thread it through, get your bolt, go from, yeah, kind of move it out of the way to get it in there, bring it down, and washer and nut, and we'll tighten that up. We're gonna have to use box end wrenches or 2 ratchets to do this because there's not gonna be enough room to get my impact in there. And we'll get these just as close as possible in here. I'll repeat with the 4th one. Now, one thing to note here, it does take a considerable amount of time to mount these Danish tines on here. And as you can see, I don't have any room for a wrench. I can go inside of the one next to it. So, I'm really thinking it might be a more convenient idea in the future to possibly buy a second bar, have these permanent mounted to it, and all I have to do is do these 4 back here, which I could run off of a air ratchet or an impact, where these have to be done by hand because it's inside and it's underneath inside, so you just really can't get to it. But that's further down the road, and I don't know, I'm gonna mount them all on here and see what happens. I'm probably not gonna have them all mounted on here. I don't even know which ones I'm gonna use. I don't know which ones will be useful, but the only way to find out is to run a test. So that's our next step, is I'm gonna get the tire track removers between my walkway clears on here, get my bed hillers on here with my S-tines, and I'll show you that, and then we'll go run it and see what happens. Okay, I successfully got everything on here, but it's not gonna work. It's too tight. The S-tines in here are hitting the discs on both sides, so that ain't gonna work. So what I really need to do right now is I need to kind of shift some beds over and plot 4, which is over here behind me on the other side of the high tunnel there, because we're getting ready to put a Farmer's Friend cat tunnel on there. The reason that's not up is a whole different story, and I'll try to get into that here maybe next time or so. For right now, take the S-tines off. I'll use those flatten the bed tops later maybe. I don't know, we'll see how the day goes. But just for right now, I just want to run the tire track removers and the bed shapers. So that way I bring the dirt up, and then these should hopefully flatten, there we go, flatten the walk paths afterwards. So we'll have a little bit of probably a U-shaped bed, but after that, I don't know, I can drop these discs back off there, raise these up, put the S-tines back on. I don't know, we'll see how the day goes. But yeah, let's go over there and do some action footage. So what I'm really seeing here is that after I get this thing successfully set up, which right now I've got the sweeps running right next to the discs, which should push me in just a little bit on the inside of the tire on both sides. And I got free spin. But once I get this set up and it actually is working good, what I'm going to want to do is go through and put some indexing marks on these different pieces. And that way I know I can just put it to get a paint pen, put a white line, bring the white line right there for my height. On the hillers here, do the same thing with the height, but I'll put a second mark like on the side here or something to where I can index this line vertical matches this here, so the inclination is correct, and that works well. And that way it'll give me a little bit of a starting point to work with, instead of just trying to shoot and, you know, make this work and that work and this work and then adjust this and maybe it'll work this time, won't work next time. If I can get this baby really dialed in and get all this set where I want it, it'd be really helpful. Now, the one thing that I did do in the process here is I had to move these clear out to the outside. I had them here. So, you know what that means? The S-tines probably would have fit just fine in there anyways. But for now, I'm just going to try to run it and see what happens. Afterwards, I can try throwing the S-Times back on with everything else in there and then see what happens. But right now, I just want to get going. So I started editing all the footage on this. It turns out I've got about 40, almost 45 minutes. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to break this up into 2 separate videos. One this week, one next week. As you can see, finally got some snow on the ground out here. First half it was just a bunch of rain. So now it's really wet and frozen underneath here. We got the snow on top. So hope you all like what you saw here today. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank y'all. Have a good day.